According to Google, 2022 has been a year where people search for new possibilities more than ever before. People are asking, what else is possible? How can I evolve? How can I create a life that I truly love? Perhaps you've been searching for a new lifestyle, new career, new business, new relationships, or a new style of confidence. It's been a time of reinvention, redesign, and rebirth. People are stepping up, showing up, and speaking up on important matters. People want to see positive change. People are searching for more meaning, fulfillment, flexibility, and joy. Life is short. You only live once. Are you willing to bet on yourself and create the life of your dreams? Reflecting on this past year sheds light and insights on pivotal moments that forges the path toward a brighter and prosperous future. If you want to set yourself up for success, then today's episode on how to reflect on your year and thrive in 2023 is for you. Hello, hello. Comment to say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Hello and welcome to the Dare to Differentiate show. The purpose of the show is to help you own your voice, value, and visibility with confidence. Whether you're tuning in live or watching the replay, I am so delighted that you're here. Comment to let us know where you're tuning in from. All right, we've got an audience here on LinkedIn. Hello, happy holidays. Just want to say cheers here. So I'm your host, Diana YKGN, LinkedIn top voice and founder of My Marketability, where I help you stand out, get hired, and earn more. All right, if we're not connected yet, make sure to follow me on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Instagram. All right, let me see the audience. Just want to say hello, who is here. All right, it's going to be an interactive one. All right, hey, Mahesh, great to see you. All right, oh, we have an audience on YouTube from Australia. Oh my goodness, it must be late right now. Isn't it about 12 o'clock or so at nighttime? There, I want to welcome all of you. It's going to be an interactive show today. So let me tell you what we're going to cover today. Part of this agenda today is we're going to cover how to reflect on your year. I'm going to walk you through the 5 steps. And then I'm going to share with you a bit of my highlights of the year and my key lessons of 2022 to inspire you there. And also share with you a bit of my 2023 plans and goals for next year. And then I'm going to walk you through a big part of my training is how to thrive in your life and career in 2023. I'm going to share with you my 10 strategies to thrive. And then last but not least is I'm going to share with you 12 career pivot success stories to inspire you. So I'll be walking that through of today's agenda. If you are excited and you're here, type in a +1. Type in a +1 to let me know that you are excited. Okay. Yes. Oh my goodness. Let's see who's here. Is it Kahesh from California? Oh, cold Denver. Yes, it's cold here in Canada today as well. It's like minus, what is it right now? -1 here. Hey, Colleen, great to see you. All right. Great to see an audience here today. So today's going to be interactive. I want to make it as interactive as possible. I'm going to show the chat room later on as well so that I can engage with all of you while I connect or while I'm teaching as well. Hey, Magdalena. Hi, David. Great to see some familiar faces here. I'm curious to know, I want to share with you here, first of all, is I'm actually celebrating 2 years of running this live show, the Dare to Differentiate live show. It's been ongoing for 2 years now. And I was just reflecting last night of how it's been such a beautiful, wild ride. It's been, for those who don't know the backstory, back in December 2020, this is when the pandemic started. I had this urge and desire to really give back and to create deeper human connection. So I decided I felt really called, actually, this was like the American Thanksgiving, end of November, to create something special to give back. And it was called the Career Relaunch Summit, where literally in 3 weeks of planning, I brought on 20 guest speakers to come on my show for the very first time running something like this nature, where I talked over 2 days of over 11 hours. Each guest had a half an hour interview with me where they share their story and best career and job search advice. And I remember I had a lot of imposter syndrome leading up to it, but I made my why greater than my fears. And it was a huge success with thousands of people who attended. And since then, I've been hooked on running my live streams, whether it's bringing on guests or bringing on training sessions here. So if you've been following me since then, like type in a big fan. Let me know that you've been following me, or just like the past year, let me know a big fan. If you're new here, type in new. I want to welcome you. This show has all been about really helping you own your voice, value, and visibility. Right. The angle really has been focused on helping you grow your career, helping you differentiate as top talent, helping you stand out, and really communicate with confidence there. Yes, thank you. All right. All right. We have Mahesh from India as well. We have an international audience. Amazing. Yes, thank you so much. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to feature the chat because I want to be really interacting with you all. Like I would love for you to chat with me today while I'm also sharing with you some tips and nuggets here. So let me just do this. I haven't done this in a while. That it's the chat's going to be coming through so that I can be seeing it while I'm teaching as well. Yes. Is it? Oh, well, I'm new to this second show. You were here last week. I recognize you. You were chatting with us here. Big fan, close to 2 years. Amazing. Thank you so much, David. Okay, this is going to be so much easier where I can see the chat on the screen while I also be doing my teaching here. Amazing. All right, I'm going to be interacting with you all. This is going to be final episode of the year, so I want to make it fun. I'm going to be off on my holidays after the show. I have like a lunch with some of my friends and my mentors as well, celebrating. I'm going to be off until the new year of January 9th here. So let's have a good time today here. Okay. So please click like and comment anytime, share your thoughts, key learnings, engage with one another, ask me questions as well. Okay. Awesome. All right. So let's talk about how to reflect on your year. Right. Tell me a little bit. I want to ask you all, like, if you were to think about how would you describe your year? How would you describe your year of 2022 there? All right, tell me a little bit in the comment here. For me, I would say the word I was reflecting is really been the word of space, really creating more space for myself. And what's taught me is really that we need to slow down to speed up. Right. I had a really busy 2020, 2021, and 2022. I really went in the year being more intentional of how I wanted to plan my year. So my big word for this year has been space there. So let me walk you through some of the steps on how to reflect on year, and I'll share with you some of my insights here. So someone described here roller coaster. Okay, 2020 been a year of roller coaster here. So step one of reflecting on your year is to really reflect on your personal highs and lows for your highs and lows here. So some questions you can ask yourself is, what are you proud of? What are some fond memories? What did you enjoy? What drained you? What was hard? Right? Reflecting on these highs and lows here, personally and professionally. So I want to hear from you all as well, okay, so that we can be interactive here. So there, David shared, disappointed for job search, but tremendous growth and learning about how to serve others. That's amazing to hear that. Amazing, amazing. So I'll reflect on a little bit of my highs and lows for this year. I would say, so for me, because I've been creating more space, I feel like this year the high for me, like overall my mental health has been much better. I feel more connected, happier, more fulfilled, more joyful. And part of it's really being intentional, where I really decided to create my life and work schedule where I'm not working crazy hours. I decided to work really more between 20 and 25 hours per week. And I had my days of I call it my CEO planning days and pampering days, like Monday and Fridays, so that I can also be creating work, creating shows like this for you to really inspire and empower you. Another high for me, I would say personal high this was the year of traveling, where I started traveling more. I haven't really traveled for over 2.5 years for most people like that. I felt like this was a year of travel where I went to Paris for my mastermind, a women's luxury mastermind, to up level my influence and impact. I also went traveling for the first time with my family to Cancun. So I took about 3 weeks off in August, and that felt really, really nice. And I was so grateful that I was able to delegate to my VA, Jan, who's also interacting with you all right now in today's show as well. And then also New York. I went to New York for the LinkedIn instructor reunion event, where I met tons of fellow LinkedIn instructors. And that inspired me so much to think bigger, dream bigger of what's possible, being a content creator, a speaker, and a coach. And so those are things that I intentionally did that I felt was a big high. From a professional high, and I want to hear from all of you as well, not just me sharing as you type it in. So my professional high this year was that early in the year, I was recognized as LinkedIn top voice in careers and job search for 2022. So that was a huge honor and a lovely surprise when I found out in January. So that really helped grow my following and meeting a lot of new folks like you here on the show today. So I really stepped up my content creation game after that recognition. I was also also invited to speak at the UN 6th time this year, which was a huge honor. I knew that I wanted to speak on more bigger stages, international stages. That was part of my vision board last year. So I put that down, and my client who works at the UN referred me to an opportunity to give back on International Women's Day. And I did a brand new talk on pitching yourself with confidence. And that was a huge hit with over 350 people attended. And I loved it so much that they brought me back again the following month. And it was about how to build trust and rapport in interviews. Hundreds of people attended again, and they loved it. So they brought me back again just this fall, a 3-part series on career management masterclass series, where I delivered another 3 training series on networking, personal branding, and LinkedIn. So that was a huge, the proud moment for me, where I was able to really impact over 1,000 people who attended those trainings there. And that helped me also get onto speaking for UNICEF, and recently completing 2 other big talks for a Fortune 500 company called Danaher. Something I was really proud of, because I was hired to help a group of hundreds of high-performing Asian leaders to advance their careers, to help them really get promoted. And so my talks were on personal branding, how to advocate for yourself with a strong personal brand. And I created another brand new talk on overcoming imposter syndrome. So those are some of my big highlights I'm really proud of. The other big one, I don't know if any of you have actually seen my new LinkedIn course that I launched back in May, called Presenting with Confidence. So that's another a course, a brand new one I launched on presenting with confidence. And it was inspired by my UN talk on pitching yourself with confidence. And I'll be creating more new courses, more LinkedIn courses coming in the new year. So stay tuned for that. I just got the message about creating a new course in the new year. So those were some of my highs, personal, professional highs. The lows, I would say, so some of the lows was my entire family caught COVID back in the summer, and that was really hard. In the summer, it was, I remember, end of June after my son's birthday, and it was really hard. It took me about a month to recover there, and I think since then I've also still been recovering from my coughs here. So that was a low for me. So let me just take a look of the comments coming in. Oh, David said, my conference online was amazing. Hey, Lily, great to see you. Hope you can come back. You were a hit. Yes, please. I would love to come back to talk to the UN here at the FAO. Amazing. Yes. All my UN trainings are private. Unfortunately, they can't be shared. I know some of you are asking it, but I have tons of other public trainings that you can find on my YouTube channel. Okay. Yes. Yeah. The 3-part series. Yeah. They aren't shared publicly there, but I'll be sharing like nuggets and tips and all that of what I taught there. Yes. Oh, that's great to hear, David. Presenting with confidence was a game changer for you. Oh, that's amazing. I have to tell you, so it's different of creating a nano course with a mobile phone than speaking live on live stream. Which one do you think is harder? For me, recording a course on a mobile phone was much harder than doing a live show for a couple hours. I'll tell you why. I had less than 3 weeks to create this nano course. It was during March break, so I had like less than 19 days to create this. And so we had to map out the script, the topic, the outline, add all like the script to the teleprompter app on my phone to record it. I recorded of those dozen videos over 100 times. There. And then we had to edit it and submit it. So it was a huge process. So from a time commitment and effort, it was a lot more than actually creating a live stream show where I can just come up with the topic and speak live. So a very different experience, because when I'm live, I'm interacting with all of you. Like my energy thrives on having an audience, whereas recording videos on a phone, it's, there's not that much energy there. So I had to really record it multiple times. Now, one of the things I do plan on doing more is I want to record more short form video content next year. So it'd be interesting to see how my energy would be compared to running a live show. Yes. How many of you think of running a live show is hard, right? Because anything can go wrong. One of the things I've learned is that, you got to be able to adapt, be able to think on your feet, be able to interact with the audience as well. These are things I've really learned in running a live show there. So yeah. So step number 1 of reflect on your year is to really think about your personal and professional highs and lows. Okay. So that's a really important step. Okay. Not only just your career, but really think of life overall there. Okay. Step two is to really reflect on the lessons learned. What did you learn this year? How have you grown? What good decisions did you make? What are you grateful for? What got in the way? Right, so this is really taking a step back, reflecting on your year. What are some of those key lessons learned? And we'll love to hear from you as well. Share with me a little bit of your lessons learned. So I mentioned earlier how some of the key lessons I learned earlier this year was the word of space, right? And it's because in the last 2 years, I was working a lot of hours. Like I was burnt out a few times. And so for me, I intentionally wanted to create more space so that I can also improve on my mental health in order for me become a better speaker and coach to serve others, become a better mom as well. So that was something I really intentionally did this year. So let me walk you through some of the things of what I meant by space. Like I just broke this down the other week as I was reflecting and preparing for the show. Is the S stands for self-care. Self-care. So really filling my cup was really important. So whether things like journaling, meditating, having solitude time. I love also splurging and pampering myself on my monthly manicures, facials, massages. Those are all things that made me feel good so that I can also show up more powerfully and authentically as well. Right, so those are things that I've learned it's really important, self-care. The next one is the P. The P is really for me around the what was it? It was really around the people and the passion, right? Of really still doing what I love. Really connecting with people was huge. That was really important for me there. And then what's the A was around asking for help. So this year I decided to hire a virtual assistant, which you see Dan here. He's been so amazing in helping me since I think April or May time when we did the Amplifying Asian Voices series. Like he really stepped in to help me. And I didn't realize how much I was actually doing myself in terms of writing my own content, creating everything, creating all the designs, and having an assistant like Jan to help out with the design, the content creation, the video editing has been a game changer for me because that has allowed me to think bigger, to dream bigger, come up with new ideas, new opportunities, new collaborations, new partnerships. And so that has been huge, asking for help. I did start hiring a VA back in 2013 and 2016, and then I paused when I had my kids between 2015 till 2022 there. So that has been a huge lesson learned this year, is just really asking for help, and so that I can really do more strategic thinking and long-term planning there. Yeah, so thank you so much, Jan. Like you've been a huge support for stepping up and helping me here. So that was a big one, asking for help. The C is around connection. So connection, this is really more around those in-person meetings and events. And that was really important for me because I noticed, for me, like I being an extrovert, I love talking to people. I love connecting with people. I love hearing people's stories. And so I felt like my mental health was low the year before. So I knew I had to do something about it. And so this was the year where I really proactively connected with people, not just virtually, but running like my own social networking event in person this summer. Like 30 people came, and it was so nice to be able to chat, to catch up, to make introductions. I love that. So this is why I was really intentional of going to my Paris trip in person, going to Cancun, going to New York. All these human connection type of conversations really filled my cup. So that was a big lesson that I want to continue to do that next year. Is to really surround myself with amazing people. And this is why I'm hosting my first ever business mastermind, luxury mastermind wellness retreat in Cancun, Mexico next year in April, supporting other fellow women entrepreneurs. So that's really important there. So I decided to do that. And so the lastly is the E. So the E was really around elevate, really elevating my own personal and professional growth, like really stepping up my game, investing myself. Hence why I invested in like a mastermind, taking online courses, listening to podcasts, really working with more like people who would really inspire me and empower me to think bigger and dream bigger. So that was huge, elevating my game, and even overhauling my entire wardrobe this year. I feel more confident, a new style of confidence as well. And so that has been huge. So those are my key lessons. So let me check. Let me ask from all of you here. Yes. Oh, yeah, what's it coming here? Oh, it would be great if you could run a private weekly membership meeting. Oh, that's a great idea. I've been thinking of that. I'd be interested if any of you would be interested in that. I've actually been meaning wanting to run something more private than public because I know sometimes public live streams people don't want necessarily want to comment, especially if those who are, let's say, in a job and want to have and discuss more confidential matters. I've been considering running a private like Zoom meetings, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly or monthly. Is this something you'd be interested in? Like for those who are here, right? I would be interested in hear from you. If you want to type in a +1 or DM me, like just private message me as well. Is it something you're interested if I run something that is focused on how to help you differentiate, how to help you stand out, how to help you be more confident in speaking up, advocating for yourself, how to essentially pivot and find your new job? I know that's a big what part of the work I do is around pivoting, around starting a new job in a new industry, starting a new business. Is this something that you're interested in? Yes, you said in a private health focus group. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, that's great. Yeah, my focus would still be related to career. Like it'd be a career growth advancement. There. Yeah, type in a +1 if you're interested in something like that. I've actually been thinking of doing something like that. So thank you for the suggestion here. Um, for the suggestion because I've been also thinking of running also private boot camps or workshops as well because I know there's a lot of people going through change where they need a bit more guidance on actually how to map out that transition plan. And that's something I know I can provide more support if I run something more privately there. Yes. Okay. All right. +1 that's interesting that's coming in. This is good to know. I love that I put this chat room up here. I haven't done it for the whole year, but I'm like, this is great for me to interact with all of you. We have about 40 people, I think, right now I see on LinkedIn and some on YouTube here. So that is great. This is great to know. I'm also in this planning mode right now over this holiday of planning whether these private events or something I recently did was I hosted a VIP one-on-one masterminding day with another fellow career coach, Tiffany Uman. And it was so much fun. We hung out for 2 days over the weekend. She flew in from Montreal to see me in Toronto, and I took her out to different restaurants. We went to do massages, manicures, pedicures, and we went to the spa. It was so much fun. And that was really what inspired me to host a 5-night masterminding in Cancun there. So I've been actually thinking, and I'm going to share with you this as we're talking about this right now, is I actually want to run like a 2 or 3 day retreat that will help people with the career clarity of figuring out what's next. For those who are looking for a change, it could be virtual or in person, but I like also the in person for those who are interested, is to really having that essentially downtime of thinking of what you really want and creating that roadmap and talking to people and getting that guidance and coaching. So that's something I've been thinking of as well. So if this is something you are interested in, type in a +1 or type in like retreat, type in the word retreat there. I've been reading a lot, actually, research is that in the coming year, more and more people are craving for in person human connection, in person events, retreats, conferences, gatherings. Like those are things that people are looking for more of there. Yes. Amazing. Amazing. Okay. This is good to know. So I'm curious, like to hear if you want to type in, like, what are some of your lessons learned? I'm going to share that with me as well. What are some of your lessons learned from 2022 there? Let me see here. David Share, key takeaway this year: respect the process of job hunt. Time delays, ghosting, rejection, irritating form repetition, disrespect of recruiters. Believe in yourself, be strong in being your best self. Oh, such a great message, David. You know what? Job search can be really draining, right? It can be very stressful. I get it. There's a lot of stress and emotions involved. Yeah, and there's things that are out of your control. It's so important to continue to believe in yourself, right? Continue to bet on yourself as well and think of ways to do things differently, leveling up, connecting with people. Those are all things that are really important. There has been studies shown, and I don't know if you've seen some of these research, is that there's going to be just a lot more new types of jobs being created that never existed before. So it is so important to really identify what are those new skills that you want to up level, right? You've probably been hearing a lot about soft skills, right? Soft skills that's in demand. There's still also a lot of the technical skills that are in demand as well, right? With the growth and advancement of technology. Yes. Lily said, lesson learned, do not be so hard on yourself. Oh, that's such a good one, right? This really ties in about being kind, being compassionate, to yourself, right? Like you may have, there could have been like say goals that you wanted to achieve but didn't happen, but that's okay, right? That's totally okay as well. Being kind to yourself. Something I've been reflecting a lot on, right? Even though as we're thinking about this reflection and planning, it's good to plan and it's good to have a vision board and set your intentions, but there are certain things that are just you just don't know that's going to unfold, right? That's going to happen, right? There's this balance between you want to plan and there's this balance between you want to just create that space for that spontaneity and the surprise as well. Like for example, like I did not plan on necessarily having the LinkedIn course so soon early in the year, but I know that was my intention. That was part of my intention vision board that I want to do something like this. I didn't expect that it was happening in Q1 of 2022. Right? I knew I want to speak on more international stages. Right? I didn't realize that I would unfold to speaking like 6 times at the UN. So what I'm trying to say, the message here is you want to set your intention, set those good vibes and energy out there, let people know about it, right? But don't be so hard on yourself that it needs to happen by this time there. If you were really stuck with a timeline, you're going to put a lot of pressure on yourself there. Okay, so that's really, really important, that balance of that lesson there. So thank you for sharing that, Lily. Okay, so let's move into step number 3 in reflecting on your year. It's to identify new opportunities and improvement areas. So some questions you can ask yourself is, what will make next year better? What will make it better? What will feel good to you? What are areas to improve? What is in demand? What job and skills are needed? Okay, so this is really now like looking ahead as you reflect on what you've learned. Let's think about possibilities and opportunities for you here. Right? What will make next year better? And so it's important here to really think about, okay, what will make next year better for you? Let's just talk about this together, right? So for me, I know what will make next year better for me is I want to continue to do more speaking, as I know that fills my cup. I love interacting with people. And so that would be part of that, like Women Extra Better is having more speaking, more videos. In terms of areas and to improve, I know for me, I could continue to step up my video game, like video production, video editing. This year already, like the last few months, I started to step up my game with creating short form content. I don't know if any of you have followed me on Instagram or on TikTok. I started just creating more short form videos, and it's totally different from creating long form training content because it requires you to think essentially more punchlines and sound bites of 15-second, 30-second, or under a minute type of content. And that's been really fun for me to create, to think outside, get outside of my comfort zone, actually, not only just talking, but also creating more fun content where I'm just acting something out or I'm just dancing. And I've had friends who call me and they say that they're so happy to see me so happy that I'm totally in my element and enjoying it as well. So really just trying out new things has been important, right? So sometimes what I'm trying to say here, as we think about this, is that you can still be in your, let's say, domain expertise or things that you've been using, tools you're using, but how can you continue to evolve and grow in that area, right? So for me, it's going from long form content to more short form content. And so I will be also thinking of creating more short form content on my YouTube channel next year. That's more educational there. Okay. What is in demand? So this is what I really want you to think about, because this is how you think of opportunities, right? Like what's really in demand right now in terms of jobs or skills that are needed. This is where you can really look at job postings, talking to hiring managers or recruiters, what's really in demand. So I'm going to share with you what I'm seeing, like my bit of my prediction, like having been a career coach for the past decade. Like it's going to be 12 years in January for me that I'm celebrating. And what historically I've seen is I've been really serving people and helping them find full-time jobs, the full-time 9 to 5 type of jobs related to in that business type of roles, like mid to senior level and executive level roles. So this could be from anything from accounting to engineering to sales, marketing, operations, all these roles there. And what I've seen this past year is more people and you see there's a new millions of people have been quitting their jobs. Like in the US, on average, every month, 4 million people quit their jobs, right? And I've seen it within my clients, those who started a new job, within the first 3 months, they realize it's not the right job for them. And so they either quit. So there's this other new term now, it's called quick quitting. So more people are quitting faster, even though there are layoffs happening in a lot of the tech industry here. And so what is in demand is there's going to be more people wanting to start their own either business or and part of that gig economy. I know you heard the word gig economy, which is being either a freelancer, a consultant, an advisor, a strategist, essentially thinking of ways to monetize your expertise. And I want to challenge you, for those who are here with me today, I want you to think about essentially ways you can also monetize your expertise beyond just a full-time job, your full-time job, right? You can still have that full-time job. Like I have friends or family members this past year where they're still in their full-time job, but started to doing consulting work or advising work. So I want you to think about like what is really your superpower, what is in demand, what is needed, where you can help other people. This is also part of thinking of job security and protecting your job as well. If you're thinking that you may, let's say, lose your job or you've lost your job, what else can you offer beyond the traditionalist 9 to 5 job here? Where else can you contribute? Okay. Yes, quick quitting is a real thing, right? Yeah. So think about that, what's in demand. So for me as a coach or as a business owner, I know that there's going to be more people coming to me for beyond just pivoting into a full-time job, but they're thinking about, hey, how can I monetize my expertise? How can I build my brand online or build my brand, let's say, on LinkedIn, right? I know that when I did a training this year in January on how to build my brand on LinkedIn, when I got recognized as LinkedIn Top Voice, that was a very popular training. A lot of you attended that talk there. Another big one that I've seen is pitching yourself, selling yourself. Like I realize that a lot of people are not comfortable in pitching themselves, not only in interview settings, but pitching their own services, pitching their own products. And so that's something I know that's going to be in demand that people will want more of. So it helps me then think about what can I offer essentially as a speaker and trainer. So I want to encourage you to think about what's in demand there, right? Like what can you be offering? So a question about what's causing the quick quitting. That's a good question. What's causing it? A few things, right? So if you think what's causing the quick quitting, one that I see is that people just either working crazy hours, right? And just feel totally drained. The job was not as advertised, right? When you think about it, things are still changing a lot, right? This is a year where companies or employers are still figuring out this whole future of work, whether how many days you work in person in the office or virtual. What does that really look like? And so part of it is that things are just constantly changing from an organization standpoint or restructuring that is also changing the individual's jobs as well. And so that expectation of what to deliver or what to work on could be a lot, right? I know from friends or clients who've quit, the big reason is really just not what expected, or it's not worth it, or it's impacting my mental health. These are the common reasons that I hear of what's been causing that. Yeah. It could also be, yeah, the office policies, unstable layoffs. Absolutely, right? Absolutely there, right? Sometimes there's this ripple effect when you think about it, is that from a more macro level, if you think about how, let's just say, senior management or leaders, if they get let go or laid off, how does that impact the culture, the employee morale? Right? People are going to feel uncertain, right? And anytime there is new leadership coming in, there's always going to be some sort of changes. And there's going to be some sort of friction or tension between employees and leaders of whether that's a good fit or not. And so some people might start quitting, right? Because they don't think it's a good fit there. For some, it could be a lifestyle thing, right? You know, there's so many in the news about how a lot of women have been quitting as well the last 2 years because of needing to take care of family, right? So in terms of being able to commit to that, right? Yeah. So I want to encourage you to really think about like what are the improvement areas or what will make next year better. Type in to let me know like what will make next year better for you there. What will make next year better? I know for me, I definitely want to continue to have this space to do what I love, but also really taking care of myself and taking care of my family. That's really important. So that flexibility and that balance is really important. I've seen this year more clients saying that they want to be able to have either those remote jobs or even thinking about like, is it possible to live abroad while working? Right? That's been a big question I've been hearing from some clients. And it's definitely possible. Like I have clients already plotting those things out of how is it possible for me to move from, let's say, Canada to Europe to have like a summer home there, for example, and still working. People were thinking about these things there, right? Yes, yes. Stability in the IT sector. Okay, what will make next year better? Yep, yep. So here's the thing I'm going to talk about is I know everyone wants the stability and all that. And one thing I want to encourage all of you is don't wait for things to stabilize, if that's the word, stabilize, to decide on whether you want to launch your new career or business there. Right? If you're going to wait for everything to come into place, you're going to feel like it's never going to happen. Right? I think that's one of the important message I want to give is that don't feel you need to wait until things are, let's say, more stable, more certain for you to make positive changes there. Okay. Like you can start today if you want to. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay, let me see here. David said, new opportunities, video adding value content that matters to my audience. That's amazing to hear. You know what? I'll tell you, video is a huge one, right? And there's been so many studies shown that video content is definitely going to be more in demand, more favorable as well. Like there's just stats, data show that. And so I always tell people, like, get comfortable speaking on camera. This is something that you're not, like, just start practicing, right? Even though you can learn everything, but the way to get better on video and camera is really practicing and doing it. And so for me, consistently showing up on a live stream show every 2 to 3 weeks or so, that has really helped me, right? Like I'm able to actually come up with a topic idea on a weekend and promote it on a Monday now and run it on a Thursday. Like I'm able to do it with little notice and planning now because I've built essentially that confidence, that rhythm. I know exactly what I need to do. I have my assistant helping me as well to create like the images and all that. And for me, if I can plot out what I want to say, what I want to run, I know I'm ready to go there, right? And I know being on LinkedIn, like I have an audience, right? I see like 40 of you right now in an audience. So what's important is really coming up the right topic. That's something a huge one that I've really learned this year is like coming up the right topic to have an audience to come to the show there. Okay, awesome. So step number 4 and reflecting on year is to think of your wants and needs, right? So this ties in a bit of the previous one. And the previous one's a bit more external of identifying opportunities, what's in there. This one is a bit more internal, really thinking about your own desires, right? What do you really want more of? Who do you want to become? How do you want to feel? What needs to happen and change, right? Like this is like really more thinking personally here for yourself. Like this is almost like really being selfish, right? Like I love doing this because a lot of times we may be coming up with a lot of these tangible goals, which is good as well. But here the question around how do you want to feel, right? So for example, for me, it's around like feeling there's spaciousness and free, feeling inspired, empowered. Right? These words are just getting clear on that. It's going to drive the type of decisions that you're going to make, like what you're going to say yes to and what you're going to say no to. Right? That's really, really important. Like getting clear on just that, the vibe and energy that you want. Like, what do you really want to attract? Right? Like, I know for me, like when I think about even connecting with people, like I want to connect with people who has this positive vibe and energy, this kindness of being helpful. Like I want to surround myself with that people. So I want to show up that way as well. And that's going to help me think of, okay, who are the people that I want to bring into my own community and network? Who are the people I want to bring onto my show as well, right? Just really getting clear on that. This piece around who do you want to become? This is really around the being versus doing, right? It's easy for us to come up with a to-do list. You really also want to think about the to-be list, right? The to-be list of like to be happy, to be fulfilled, to be passionate, to be confident, to be clear. Like writing out these to-be list is going to help you to think about, okay, what are things that you're going to do to help you feel that way there. Okay, so share with me in the comments, right? Like of who do you want to become? Like those words of feelings or how do you want to feel? Type in the comments to let me know. This is very powerful because it's really going to help you. Okay, well, like going back to like what needs to happen and change, right? So for me, going back, you know how I said like I felt burnt out the previous year. I knew if I want to feel more space, more freedom, more connection, what needs to happen and change is I need to work less hours, right? I need to have more downtime. Like that's the need that needs to happen and change, right? So meaning that I need to start saying no to things, right? Setting those boundaries. And I find, going back to what I've seen this year of people who are drained at work, and this is like lessons learned, right? All lessons learned, nothing like that fault here is that, right? It's that sometimes I find it's hard to say no, especially if you're in a full-time job. You may feel that I need to be doing all these things, but then you're feeling drained there, right? So a big part of it is like, what kind of boundaries do we need to set so that we can feel better? Okay, so type in the comment to let me know there, right? What are some things that you want to think about implementing there? Yes. So Pascal shared, have a liberal work. I would feel more free and may have time for rest. Yes. Oh, resting is so important. I just said recently the quote that you need to rest in order to deliver your best. You need to rest in order to deliver your best. Resting is so important. Like getting enough sleep, having the downtime. Like this is also, I'll tell you something there. Like some of you have been messaging me asking me, is like, Diana, like you see me doing a lot this year. You're always like everywhere on the go. How are you managing your time? Like a lot of people have been asking me that number one question, like, how am I managing my time? And I'm going to tell you, like I just shared recently, is that I don't say yes to everything. I actually say no to a lot of things. And I also create space in my schedule for contingencies or unexpected. So for example, even in the last 3 weeks, my kids have been sick. Like they've been at home from school, but they're not allowed to go to school. Like when they're coughing or whatever, like the school doesn't allow them to go back to school until like they're totally clear. Sometimes it'll be 5 days. So I need to have essentially this buffer, the contingency that, okay, that I can't have a full schedule of meetings, or I need to be able to quickly move things around there. And so I really buffer that of just, instead of having a full day of back-to-back meetings, I'm okay with just having like a half day type of meeting and then using the afternoon time to do thinking work or planning work there. Yeah. Resting should not be confused with laziness. Absolutely. Resting should not be confused with laziness. Yes. Yes. I have to tell, I'm going to be very honest. For the longest time, I didn't really share that I take time to even have like no meeting Fridays. And this fall in September, I started having no meeting Mondays where I can do more planning work, because I felt like that may be perceived as not being a high achiever. And so it's so important. This comment here around resting should not be confused with laziness. A couple of weeks ago, this was early December, I had 3 talks in 3 days, back to back, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I had, and I had my own live stream show as well. No, I was giving talks at different organizations, all 3 different topics. And I knew that I needed to have some downtime in order to deliver my best the rest of the week. So I actually took the Monday off, where I actually went for a 2-hour massage. And actually during that time, I was able to do my thinking work as well, like really practicing my opening lines, my speech, visualizing the audience, how I want to feel. And I actually felt it was very productive. Like I've never actually really taken the Monday to go for massage, but because I knew that was a pretty intense week, that I knew I had to take that 2 hours of like even just some downtime for myself, I felt so much better. Right. So I want to challenge your thinking here, right? That we may be so used to that, okay, we need to be, let's say, Monday, start hardcore, getting all these things done. But it's okay sometimes to have a bit slower day as well there. Okay. So share with me that in terms of how you want to maybe change your schedule. Right. That has been a game changer for me this past year. Is every 3 months I do an audit on my energy level, and I look at my schedule of what works, what doesn't. And then I look at ways to optimize my schedule there. So for example, in the past, I have times where I would not start a meeting till 10:30 or 11, so that I can use the first hour, an hour and a half to do some thinking work and planning work. I mean, now I'll start meetings at 9:30 because I end my day earlier now because of my kids getting off school earlier. They used to get off at school at like 5:36. Now, being in another school, they get off at like 3:30. So I had to end my day earlier, which means I start my day earlier. So look at ways of how you want to optimize your schedule that's going to work for your lifestyle there. Okay. And it's important to communicate that to people around you. Like, so for me, communicating to my clients, right, of what my availability is, that they can book my time. If they need me to open up my calendar, I'll open it up as well. And so communicating that, and that's going to help essentially set those boundaries out there. Okay. Awesome. All right. So welcome for those who are just tuning in right now. We're going through how to reflect on a year, and then we're going to go into how to thrive in 2023 after this here. So step 5 is to create an action plan. So once you really identify essentially these opportunities, what you want more of, the next step here is really creating your plan. Right? You don't have to have all the details mapped out, but you want to start thinking about what am I going to say yes to? What am I going to say no to? What will you stop, continue, and start doing, right? This is part of your commitment to your own self as well. Who will you ask for help and support from? Right. So just mapping that out, it gives you that high level of what do you want to start saying yes and no to? What do you want to stop, start, and continue? Okay. And that's going to really help you think of that bigger picture to map out the details. And so for me, once I have this, something that I do in another more detailed planning session is I will start mapping out, okay, well, what are the goals? And they'll break it down into then projects. I like to call them projects. Like what are the projects I'm going to do to achieve that goal? And then from there, I map out my milestones. What are my core milestones for each project? So I break it down. And then from each milestone, I break it down into task, right? So having the task, and this is going to help me. Well, do I delegate that or do I do that myself there? And I use a tool called Asana, Asana, which is a great project management tool. I actually use it with my VA Jan here, where I use it to delegate tasks. And it's been so helpful instead of just having it in emails, just being really clear on specific things that I need to get help with or that I need to work on there. Okay. Yes, start pivoting into the IT industry. Amazing. So this is a big, great goal, right? Start pivoting into the IT industry. I have an article that I was interviewed in terms of how to pivot into the IT industry that I recently shared. That was interviewed by LinkedIn there. And so even for any of those who are looking to pivot, right? Type in the word pivot if you want hashtag pivot here. I have a whole training on how to spring into a new career, which is how to pivot into a new career that I delivered in April. And one thing I talk about is how big is your pivot, right? Are you making a drastic change or not? The bigger the change, the longer it's going to take. Meaning that if you are going into a new industry without any experience or any functional area of expertise, it's going to be the hardest change to make, right? Or for those who are looking to make a pivot from corporate to entrepreneurship or vice versa, that's also going to be the longest change to make, right? So there's so many milestones of things you can do, right, to map out this plan to make that pivot. Whether it's one, getting clear on the type of job that you want, optimizing your LinkedIn and resume, networking plan, like who do you want to connect with, preparing for interviews. These are all milestones that you can break it into smaller tasks to help you make this successful transition there. Okay. Is this helpful? If this is helpful, thinking of how to create a plan, like type in a +1, right? A big part is that if you're thinking of these big goals, is how do you break it into essentially task so that's more bite-sized to tackle, right? That's exactly how I do a lot of these big initiatives and projects is I break it into milestones and tasks and then setting a deadline of those tasks there. Okay. So it's like creating that checklist there. Okay, so if this really resonated with you, type in a +1. Yeah, we're going to move into the next section 2 soon there. Okay. Yes, amazing. All right. Well, welcome everyone to the show on how to reflect on your year and thrive in 2023. I'm really loving having this chat on the screen here because I can see it more easily and then have my captions on the side there. Okay, so next what I want to do is I'm going to share with you a little bit of my vision and plans for 2023. So I already alluded to some of them in terms of what my vision and plans for 23, but I'll do a recap here of what I want more of in 2023 from a business standpoint is I want to do more speaking. So that means that I want to be speaking on more different stages, different companies, creating my own speaking events, private workshops, private webinars, doing that speaking or creating more videos there that will allow me to do more speaking. So this would be a combination of short form and long form videos. The other is really creating more new offers. As I shared with you earlier of how things are changing, is creating different offers to cater to different people's needs there, right? So, I shared earlier that I'm running my first ever business mastermind for women entrepreneurs who recently started their business in the last 3 years or so and made that transition from corporate to entrepreneurship. So, supported them to really build and grow their business and grow their brand. So, that's something that I created there. The other is really with that topic to speaking is getting on more podcasts or other live stream shows. So for any of you, if you listen to any, let's say, podcasts or shows that you feel that I'll be a great guest speaker for, feel free to message me, right? Let me know. Because a lot of times I find how I even get these opportunities is actually through referrals, introductions, or someone discovered me there. And so I will love to hear from you because, for those who've been following me some time, like, the type of content that I like to talk about. Anything related to how to stand out, how to differentiate, personal branding, public speaking, networking, LinkedIn, career advancement, job search, pivoting. These are all like my wheelhouse of topics that I can really talk about. What's been interesting with the recent shows that I've been on is people start asking me about my business. So less about just about teaching people to job search, but people have been starting asking me how I run my business, how I pitch my services, how I think about my business there. So that's been interesting in terms of getting more into the business side of things, of talking about topics around that. I actually have a episode that just came out that I'll be publishing later on where I really talked about my journey of my business growth and my tips around how I really think about generating new business and leads there. And it's very similar to what I teach job seekers when I think about generating leads. Is a big part is one, we have to get you to be more marketable, right? Going back to your brand. What is your brand? How do we build your authority, your credibility, and your marketability there, right? Now that's key. And then from there, it's really identifying, okay, who do you want to go after? What organizations you want to go after? Like coming up with that list of organizations and people that you can reach out to and build relationship with. And then from there, really identifying those opportunities there. Okay. So those are some of my visions and plans. I'll be creating more courses as well. They're going to be courses. I will have also doing more like group coaching as well. I've been doing one-on-one coaching for the last 10 plus years now. I love it because I love also the depth and be able to really go into like those really having those meaningful discussions with my clients. I love that. I'll still be doing that next year, but probably be less. So I'm going to be really taking on a limited number of one-on-one clients who want to work with me one-on-one as I focus more on speaking, training, and group coaching work there. So that's a little bit about my plans. And then the other thing I talk about is that whole human connection of doing more events, right? So more in-person stuff. So you're going to see more of that. I'll be running either my own or partnering with other people there. I would love to do any international speaking engagements, whether it's virtual or being flown to that destination to do speaking engagements there. Awesome. All right. Great to see an audience here. If you're here like live with me just now, just type in a hello, type in happy holidays. I would love to hear from you. I see there's a group of you here on LinkedIn. Awesome. Yes. Is the LinkedIn article on your LinkedIn? It is. It is. It was just posted a few days ago there. Yes. Yes. If you go into my activity section, you'll find that, the post. Okay, so now we're going to move into the next segment, which is how to thrive in 2023. I'm going to share with you 10 strategies on how to thrive in 2023. So type in a +1 if you're excited. I'm going to be sharing with you 10 of my P's strategy. Okay, I'm going to walk you through each one, and I hope this will really help you think differently. Actually, when I actually did this 2 years ago on this topic, it was a very, very popular training. Hey, Orlando, happy holidays. Great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. You've been such a huge support. Thank you. I was actually just on Orlando Haynes' show a couple of weeks ago, Career Talks podcast, where I talked about how to differentiate as top talent. It's on my YouTube channel if you want to check that out on how to differentiate as top talent or how to stand out there. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to dive into this topic on how to thrive in 2023. So strategy number 1 is to have a possibilities mindset, right? Having that possibilities mindset, which is all about having also that abundance mindset, that growth mindset, is to really ask yourself, what is possible? Okay. Don't wait until the economy recovers to renew your spirits and relaunch your career. Okay, so don't wait for that. That's my key message here and in order to do that is you really need to think differently, have this possibility mindset of what else can you do? What else is possible? Okay. That is very, very important. There's this word, if you think, look at opportunities nowhere or opportunities now here, right? This is really about a perspective shift there. Okay. Turn those obstacles into opportunities there. So having that possibilities mindset. And really, I think about it, is sometimes we really just need to get out of our comfort zone. So I'll tell you like my experience even this year in the summer when I went to Paris for the first time. And it was really a luxury experience there. It really just got me thinking differently, right? Like it's a simple experience of when even just through dining or shopping at different places is really think about like, hey, there's a next level here. What else is possible? And it really challenged me to think about, hey, what else can I do to really step up my game? And the thing here is that if you have been doing the same thing for many years, like same job, same company, same profession, same industry for a long time, a lot of times all we see is this is what's possible. Just because we've been conditioned that's all we've been brought up. So it's so important when you're thinking new possibilities is actually step out of your usual environment, go somewhere, talk to other people for you to identify new opportunities and possibilities. Okay, that's very, very important if you want to think of new ways of doing things. Yeah, see it in my mind first. Yeah, see it in my mind first, right? If you can see it, then you're going to believe it there. Okay, so that is key is having that possibilities mindset. I can tell you, I feel like this has been a big game changer for me. Like just really asking like the word, like a question, what else is possible? What are the opportunities? How can we do things differently? Right? And that's going to change the way you approach things there, right? So I'll give you like even just having the example here of let's just say running a live stream show, right? Running a live stream show, right? By default, anyone can go. You can just go live and run a show. But if we really want to up the game here, like even for me, like I'm big on branding. I like to add more visuals here. I like to have like good images, good videos here. And so think of how you can constantly up your game, or even like for me, like how I've upped my game is instead of just running my own show, I bring on guests or I run a series, right? Bring on a 5 guests, 6 guests, 10 guests. And that continues up my game in terms of challenge as well, right? Because things get more complex when you have more people involved there, right? And so think about like what else is possible? How can you do things differently there? Okay. Like I actually always have been dreaming of running my own retreat and mastermind for many, many years. I know logistically it's a lot of work. Like even going to the one this year in Paris, like I can tell logistically of my friend running it from planning, booking things, arranging transportation. There's so much logistics involved, right? The experience created was so magical that I knew that's something I wanted to create. And so you got to be up for those challenges. There's going to be always the unexpected happening, right? Even though you have this vision that there's going to be obstacles along the way. And when you think about what else is possible, what else can be done there when you face that obstacle. Okay, strategy number 2 is personal and professional development. So this is all about leveling up and investing in yourself. So I'm really big on this, right? Ever since I would say 2010, 2009, I've been consistent in investing in myself. So what I mean by that is I would either invest in a course, a program, a mastermind to really level up my own growth there. So for example, back in 2009, I invested in a 6-month coaching program to become a life coach, right? That was like thousands of dollars, but I knew I want to make a big career pivot. And so I invested in that. And then I'm really big on personal development. So every year, this is like pre-pandemic, I would go to like an in-person event, such as Tony Robbins, the Unleash the Power Within, Robin Sharma's like the 48-hour transformation. I would attend these either 2-day, 5-day type of events, and I would always come back on fire. Now, the key here, what I've learned, right? My husband is very, very numbers analytical driven. One of the things he always challenges me is that whenever you invest in something, you really want to take action, take massive action of what you want to do, meaning that you can be all inspired and empowered, but you got to really take action. And so one of the things he always challenges me is either doubling or tripling or quadrupling my investment. Whatever I invest in, I make back in my business. And I've definitely seen that in my own growth in my own business. When I invest in myself, when I bet on myself, I level up my own thinking. My clients perform better as well, just because I'm also leveling up. So I'm able to also have impact and influence my clients. They get better results or faster results. And I'm able to also either raise my fees in my offerings as well. So this is a huge one, I would say, is really investing in your own personal and professional growth. So I want to ask you, what do you plan on investing yourself next year? Whether it's a course, a program, or a podcast, whatever it is, tell me a little bit in terms of the area that what you want to invest yourself in. So for example, like me, want to do more speaking. What does that mean? That means that I need to become a better speaker, right? So whether it's investing a program or course or books on learning how to be a better speaker, presenter, building trust and rapport and engagement, these are all important things for me to learn, or how to structure a presentation, how to open a presentation, how to end a presentation. These are all things I want to be learning to get better at, right? So investing in your growth there. Okay, so let me know in the comment, what is something that you want to invest in? And I'll share with you there. Investing yourself doesn't have to be something necessarily expensive. Okay, like there's so many different things. You can go from like free podcasts to courses to books to, thousands of dollars type of programs or certifications or degrees, right? And so there's a huge range that you can still be learning and growing as well. Okay, yes. Okay, so the next one, yes, selling myself. That's something you want to work on. Amazing. So, how to pronounce it? Is it Triandel? Triandel there. I have a training on how to pitch yourself effectively on my YouTube channel. If you check it out, It was one of my most popular trainings a couple months ago. Is how to pitch yourself effectively in interviews. Right, so check that out there. That's some really good techniques that I teach. Strategy number 3 is powerful personal branding. So this is a big one. I'm really big on personal branding. I really believe when you have a great brand, you're going to elevate your marketability and credibility. As a result, you get more opportunities. So here's my quote that I recently been sharing, is that you have an upper hand when you have a strong brand, as you are more in demand. That rhymes, right? You have an upper hand when you have a strong brand, as you are more in demand. Right? So this is the power of personal branding. When you have this great brand, you're just going to become more memorable, more marketable. People will remember you. And this is something I would suggest to really double down on. When you think about the market, it's getting more competitive, right? So a big part is, how do I differentiate? How do I stand out? And having a strong brand is key, right? Being known for something, being great at what you do, having a reputation, all that things that matter, right? Like being visible. That's all going to help you attract more opportunities there. Okay, so double down on personal branding. This is going to pay off in dividends, like in the long term. I really believe like this is something I've really, for me, really invested. I'm really huge on personal branding. Like I'm very intentional about how I want to build my brand. Who do I want to associate my brand with as well? Like that's a big one. Like, do I align with their mission, their values, their objectives? Those are things I think about as well, even when it comes to brand partnerships or brand collaborations. Is there that alignment there, right? Do you want to be associated with the person or the organization there? Yes. So also like being a good leader and manager. Oh, that's a great one. I love that. So investing in training. There are tons of training and resources on how to be a great manager and leader, right? Like how to give feedback, that's a huge one. That's something I was talking to my friends over the holidays, is how to be great at giving feedback or receiving feedback there. Okay. Amazing. Amazing. So I want to hear from you when it comes to personal branding. What do you want to be known for? What do you really want to be known for as your brand? Okay, that's something to think about. An exercise you can do, if you're not sure yet, is to send out a perception survey to your colleagues, your friends, like to 20, 30 people. Ask them, what words would they use to describe you? How would they describe your leadership style, your communication style? What value do you bring? These are the questions you can ask to get more insights. And it's a very eye-opening exercise. A lot of my clients do this and they find it really helpful, because that's going to help you with identifying your brand. Right? I actually have a word cloud that I created based on what I've heard from people of my personal brand and business brand, to help me really identify like what are the things that people see me as, and whether that aligns with how I want to be perceived as well. All right. So David shared, Diana, your example of personal branding is the game maker because it speaks to confidence, purpose, and leadership. Thank you. Thank you. It's interesting. Thank you for that, David, is one of the things the feedback I always hear when people come talk to me, even on like a consultation call, is part of my brand has been in really having this passion, positivity, the being energetic, enthusiastic. And then that's part of who I am. Like that's part of the brand that I want to portray. And from an expertise standpoint, right? The expertise standpoint, what I've been really known for the last few years is around pivoting, personal branding, and then around confidence. That's a big part because of in order to brand, market, and sell yourself effectively, you need to be confident with yourself. Right? That's like the underlying that I see with a lot of my clients is they feel like when it comes to being able to sell themselves effectively is we first need to be confident, which all that ties into the mindset of how we see ourselves there. And so one of the things I always talk about is that you need to recognize your own value, right? To be able to recognize like what you bring to the table, which is part of your branding here. And then you got to believe in your value, which is the mindset and confidence, right? And then you also need to be able to voice your value, be able to convey and speak of what you bring to the table, right? That's part of building your confidence or showcasing your brand, recognizing your value, believing your value, and voicing your value there. That's all going to help you with magnifying your brand. Okay. Your likability. Thank you, Lily. So one of the things I talk about, right, that my formula, thank you for bringing this word up, likability, is how to stand out to get more opportunities. This is my formula. If anyone wants to type this out, is if you want to stand out to get more opportunities, is you want to increase your likability, which is really, this is the soft skills, the trust, the communication, the relationships, the warmth factor, like do you appear warm and likable? That's a key one, likability. Then the next one is increasing your markability. So this is really around the personal branding, the resume, the LinkedIn, the elevator pitch, outreach messages, all these things you want to essentially elevate, to optimize, right? That's markability. And then the other piece is you want to increase your visibility. So this is around putting yourself out there, right? Creating content, right? Being a thought leader, networking, going to events so that you can increase your visibility to be top of mind. This is a big one, I would say. One of the things that I've been hearing a lot this past year is a lot of people who start a new job working virtually. The big question is, how do I become more visible at work because I am working from home? And a huge part I would say is either getting involved, right? Communicating more often, showing up on camera, talking to people to stay top of mind. Okay, so that's the third one. The last one is credibility, increasing your credibility. So this is really around your reputation, being known as a high achiever, high performer with great potential, where you get referrals, endorsements. All of that's going to give that credibility. Or even just having a great brand, that's also going to give you credibility. Having a great profile, that is credibility. Yes, David said visibility can go up by volunteering. Absolutely. I've had clients for volunteering where they are actually met someone to get an interview opportunity. So that's a great way to also increase visibility there. Okay, so as a recap, to stand out to get more opportunities is you want to increase your likability, visibility, markability, and credibility. That's all going to help you attract more opportunities. This is like my signature formula that I always teach around getting more opportunities. Okay. Awesome. So moving on is strategy number 4 is problem solving, turning obstacles into opportunities, right? There's just so many problems out there, is identifying ways of what can you solve? Like what are those opportunities, right? There's so many things happening right now in the world. What really sparks your interest that you want to be part of that change? Like there's so many things that you can do. Okay, having that solution-oriented mindset, being resourceful is all going to also help you be more in demand there. Okay, now, this goes back to even employers want to hire people who have that strong critical thinking skills, problem solving skills there. When I worked at Google, um, what was that? The criteria, problem solving skills, which is general cognitive ability, is a criteria that they really look at. And most people tend to fail or have a hard time in terms of demonstrating of how they think through a problem or solve a problem. So really continuing to up your problem solving skills game is really important, or be able to solve bigger problems, more complex problems there. Strategy number 5 is purposeful pursuits. So this one's big for me, right? It's all about doing what you love, loving what you do, right? So this is going back to looking at like, what are you really called to do? What's really going to give you that meaning, that fulfillment, the impact that you want to make, really doing work that will give you essentially that joy and meaning. And so for me, like I know I'm on the right path, like being a coach, a speaker, a guide. I love also like hosting, like I'm on the right path doing what I love. I feel it is purposeful for me. It's meaningful. It's making an impact. And so give yourself that permission of pursuing that as well. Yes, change can be scary, but it can also be very fruitful there. Okay. There's a saying that says that change is hard at the beginning, messy in the middle, rewarding at the end. Okay. Strategy number 6 is plan to win. Plan to win. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Right. So going back, I said earlier, and I'm reflecting on years, coming up with this plan that you have. I remember learning this summer about from the mastermind that I attended in Paris is creating the masterpiece of your life. And this requires spending, at least an hour a day of what you are working towards, right? Coming with a plan, whether it's for your career, for your business, for your life, for your health, whatever that is put together a plan, come up with the projects, the milestones, and the tasks to help you achieve it, right? Have that winning mindset. Okay. Something that really helped me this year, I would say, was I did create a vision board from Canva, and I actually put it on my desktop as a desktop screensaver so that I actually see it every day. Every day that I come to work, I see it in front of my computer, and it really helps me and guide me in terms of what to prioritize on, what to focus on, or what I'm working towards. And it gives me that joy knowing that, oh, I achieved this or I manifested this, that I'm on the right path there, right? So for example, even though I've been speaking for a long time, I knew there was a next level I wanted to achieve. And so even this year, I revamped my entire speaking page on my website, a brand new one that I created with new photos, new talk topics, and really sharing it with the world more, right? Instead of having it more passive, it's actually talking more about it. And as a result, that has helped me attract more opportunities in the last few months by just putting myself out there and talking about it there. Okay, so having that plan to win. All right, is this resonating? If this is resonating, type in hashtag win. Type in hashtag win there. Okay. So strategy number 7, persistent action. All right, so I'm really big on taking action, right? You can have this plan, but if you don't take massive action, nothing is going to come to fruition there, right? So act in spite of fear, take massive action, right? So even though it seems scary of whatever you want to do, act in spite of fear, right? Make your why greater than your fears. Take massive action. Some of you can probably know that I'm a huge action taker. Like I do thrive off of also inspiration. Like I like to plan, but I also thrive off inspiration. Like if I have an idea, I'm gonna think of something, I'm gonna create it. I'm gonna go do it. Right? Even the show. I was thinking of it last week. I'm like, do I do it or not? It's the holidays. Probably no one would attend. Like I was telling myself that, but I'm like, you know what? I really want to have this show because I want to wrap up the year that I did this show and that I gave back. And I decided to do it. Right? I decided to create it, run it, and here I am. Right? Even with the mastermind that I'm doing in Cancun, I literally created in one day. I created the PDF, shared it with people I wanted to invite, and within a week, I filled it up. Right? So taking action, right? Even though sometimes things won't work out, which is okay. You learn from it, right? There are things that I run sometimes don't work out. I learn from it, right? I'm like, what can I do differently? What can I do better next time there? Okay. So being action oriented. I know this is something a lot of employers like to see as well. Like Amazon has a leadership principle, which is bias for action, right? Which is all about implementation and execution of there and delivering. All right, moving on is strategy number 8, which is peak performance. So this is all about going the extra mile to gain an extra edge. So this is really going back to having that achiever mindset, the winner's mindset. But it's like, what else can I do to go above and beyond that will make a difference, that will make an impact, or that will be more memorable there? Right? Think about that. And one of the quote I've heard is that go that extra mile because it's not crowded there. Because most of the times people tend not to go the extra mile, right? So for those who are even like as a job seeker, right, I really want to challenge you to think about ways that what you can do to really stand out, right? A lot of times when I see resumes or how people approach job search is really the traditional method of what we've been brought up to. Applying online, sending a resume, that's the default, right? That's the default way. I want to challenge you. What can I do? Like, what's the differentiation way? What's going to really make you stand out, right? Whether it's creating a more, let's say, a video resume, a TikTok resume, a visual resume, for example, or a video cover letter. Think of new creative ways that will really make people like, wow, that person really put in the effort to do this. I want to talk to them. Like I once had a client who created a video cover letter and tweeted to the CEO on Twitter, for example, and got an interview next day. Many years ago, I met a student who created like their resume, like back in the day when the Facebook timeline came out, that was like their resume. And now, like, people creating like video resumes or TikTok resumes, there's so many different ways of presenting that can really make you stand out. So even for example, like this year for me, one of the things I've done as a content creator is creating more carousel posts, right? You've probably seen some of my carousel posts in PDF format, where essentially I take my long form content from my show here and repurpose it to PDF format that people can read. And so my assistant Jan has been helping me with repurposing that content. And it's been a great and tailoring to audience who don't necessarily watch my videos, but like to read more. And so you want to think of ways that could be tailored to different audiences, but also different communication formats and styles there. Okay, so that you can also have that peak performance, right? This is all about, it is really all about how to stand out, right? Really, how do you bring your A game to the table here? Okay, so even for me, I'll share it with you. Like even for me, like when I host private training events with hundreds of people, something that I know that I've differentiated from other speakers and trainers, the feedback I get from the employers or the clients that hire me is that I engage with my audience. So it's not just a me lecturing, talking, but I really ask my audience questions, talk to them, engage with them, ask them questions there. And that's part of my differentiation factor. Is really to bring that engagement, enthusiasm in there. Okay, so tell me, what are some things you can do to really reach your next level, to reach that peak performance there? Right, this is all about having that higher standard, right? Having going that extra mile. Tell me a little bit what you think you can do to help you reach that next level. Okay, so we're almost wrapping up here before we move into the last segment of sharing career pivot stories to inspire you. Okay, so strategy number 9. This is about personalized human connections. Personalized human connections. I'm really big on this. This is all about building your network, nurturing your network, building those relationships. Always be connecting, always be curious, and always be cultivating. So this is what I live by, my 3 ABCs of relationship building. Always be connecting, always be curious, always be cultivating. Right? And so this is all about, putting yourself out there. There's actually been studies shown, I forgot the stat right now on top of my head, but basically studies shown that with the pandemic, most people have not talked to people outside of their family or work. I think it was at least 40% or something like that. Like a lot of people haven't really talked to them. And I really want to challenge you to really have more personalized human connection. This is going to be a huge game changer, essentially, in terms of decreasing the loneliness factor, improving your mental health, right? I shared with you earlier, like one of the big things I did this year was actually attending events, having more one-on-one conversations, spending quality time with people that I love, that I admire, that I respect, that I want to hang out with. And that has been a huge game changer for me in terms of how I feel, what I can produce, type of opportunities that I get. And so this is a big one. If you really want to thrive in 2023, is like, who are the people that you really want to deepen relationships with? Right? Make that effort. Put that list down. Send them a happy holiday message. Let them know that you're thinking about them, that you appreciate them, that you look forward to collaborating, connecting in the new year. Just send them that message. Let them know there. Okay. Yes. This is something really helpful that I do. Like I'll take the time to write that. Like, who are the people I want to connect with? One of the questions I always get is like, as your network grows, how do you really manage the network as it gets bigger and bigger, right? It's tough. It's tough. Like I do use LinkedIn to connect, to stay connected with people. And I also use my own tracker in terms of people I want to reconnect with or make an effort to actually every quarterly to touch base with there, right? So you have the different type of circles of people that you maybe touch base with once a year, or every 6 months, every quarter, or every month. Map that list out of those people that you want to stay in touch with there. Okay, so the last one, strategy number 10, is present moment living and pausing. So this is all about slowing down to speed up, right? We live in this world that things are always happening, changing. It's so important to take time to be present with your loved ones or whatever you're choosing to do, and just to just soak in those moments there, right? To slow down. This has been a big one for me this year, right? Like really slowing down. I took about, I would say, 8 weeks off this year, like in different times of the year, and it's really helped me like to pause and think about like why I do what I do, what's impactful, what's giving me joy. Take the time to do that, right? I know that there's this sometimes like you hear about the hustle culture, do. Yes, you want to be a high performer, but it's also it's important to slow down and rest there. Okay, so that's a big one that I really want to wrap up with is make sure that you're enjoying life, enjoying the people around you. Let them know that you care about them, that you love hanging out with them. Create those magical moments and memories together there. Okay, so that is a wrap on my 10 strategies on how to thrive in 2023. Let me know which one really resonated with you there. So thank you for being here. Like I know, yes, it's really late here in Australia. I'm sure it is late. It's already midnight. Thank you so much for being here. So as we wrap up here, I'm going to now move in to my final part of this segment. I'm going to try to keep this short, is the top 12 career pivot stories in hopes to inspire you. I'm going to share with you the challenges, some key lessons, things that you can do there. Okay. So now we're going to move into the 12 career pivot and job search success stories. If you're here or you need to drop off, let me know what's been your biggest takeaway so far. I would love to hear from you, like what has been helpful from today's training. I would love to hear from you from that before you go there. Okay. Awesome. So thank you for being here. I still see an audience on LinkedIn and on YouTube here. Okay, so let's move into the 12 career pivot and job search success stories. Success story number 1 is my client going from being an entrepreneur to manager of UX research in the gaming industry. This is one of my proud highlights this year. This is a client who used to be in his own business as a coach and decided really want to move into corporate, has never had a corporate job, had a really successful academic career and with PhD, and really supported him of how to make this huge transition, essentially going from being an entrepreneur to working corporate in a big gaming industry. And he was also based in Canada, landed this job in the US. What I was really proud of is that he negotiated for 6 figures more with relocation expenses, basically more than doubled his earnings. So life-changing. We're talking about life-changing here. But let me tell you, it was not easy, right? It took about, I would say, 5 months or so to make this transition there. And when he first applied to a lot of these jobs in Canada, it was a lot of more individual contributor roles, right? As a UX researcher, like a non-manager role. And he was actually getting moving forward there because of either lack of corporate experience, industry experience, or the functional experience there. But what worked really well with this opportunity he landed was he applied online, but he also really built this relationship and connection with a hiring manager. Because it was the gaming industry that he's really passionate about and he really knew the games, he was able to really hit it off with a hiring manager. So that trust and rapport was built. He was able to bring in his stories from his academic career, being like the head of the faculty there, that he was able to showcase his leadership experience. He was really well prepared in putting together his portfolio that's related to UX research and design. He networked 100 people in the industry or in that type of profession to give him the lingo, the insights, the confidence of being able to speak about those things that they were looking for there. And so to me, this goes back above and beyond. That peak performance is, yes, you may be facing all this rejection, people telling you you don't have industry experience, you don't have corporate experience, you don't have enough of the leadership experience, all this rejections there. But you need to keep on going and you think about what else can I do to differentiate? And that's exactly what this client did. And when he got the offer, I guided him in negotiating as well, where he was able to negotiate 6 figures more. And this was because the offer is based in the US, which is a very different market from Canada, right? So able to negotiate in a US package, in a relocation package, because he had to move his entire family to the States there, right? So it's so important not to undersell yourself and to not leave money on the table there. So that's really a big key lesson. Number 2, a success story is go from a finance director to strategy and ESG consulting at top consulting firm. So ESG stands for environmental strategy, environmental sustainability and governance consulting at a top global consulting firm. And this is actually a repeat client that I was really proud of, to help her increase the salary by 14% salary increase and a 27K signing bonus. And the previous year that I helped her pivot, she was already a 44% increase from a year ago. So you can imagine her salary increase essentially more than 50% here of growth within like those 2 years there. And what was really important about this was that it was challenging in a sense that she really pivoted again, right? Pivoting from being in a finance-oriented role, which previously she did have consulting background, and going back to more strategy consulting, which is really hard and competitive to get into. If anyone knows about strategy consulting, it's very, very competitive. And so what we did was that we had to get really clear on her why. Why does she want to get into ESG, which is her passion? Get really clear on what strategy consultants do, right? And learn about how to even prepare for interviews where they do case interviews as well, being really prepared for that. And be able to really do a lot of external research, right? Essentially, like what are the trends and challenges and opportunities in ESG, right? Like going above and beyond to showcase that even though you don't have experience in this area, but you've done research, you talk to people, and you can speak essentially intelligently about that area, that they believe in your potential. So a lot of times when you're looking to make a pivot into a big change, the employer may see that you don't have experience and they may not be as convinced, right? So it's so important that you as a candidate, that you have to believe in yourself. You have to be able to speak intelligently about this new area, and you need to give the confidence that you have what it takes and that you can do the job well, right? Those are the type of messages you need to be able to give. And this is what this client did. And as a result, she was able to have this huge salary increase there, which I was really, really proud of. I just got a message from her literally just a few days ago, thanking me of really been life-changing experience of working together to help her, to give her that confidence and believing in herself and going after what she really wants there. Success story number 3 is going from support systems analyst to a senior business systems analyst in the public sector. So this was a more junior client of mine, but I was so happy for him that his salary increased by 60%. And a year ago, it was a 3 times pay increase from a year ago. Life-changing when you think about this. Let's just think that this is life-changing, right? Of making essentially over 6 figures here. And a big part of the work we did, right? I would say one is the confidence, right? Because it's someone who is a new grad, newer, like younger candidate, is giving the confidence, right? Doing a lot of research, talking to people, really building his resume, building his brand, really figuring out the right type of organizations to go after, and also improving his technical acumen in terms of getting those certifications that he needed to move into this area. But what's been so amazing is that the first job he got was actually a contract role. I think it was six or 8 months, right? And then he moved into this permanent role in the public sector, which has amazing benefits as well, and was able to make a lot more money there, which was huge. So for him, it was like life-changing. I was so grateful to hear from this client there. Okay, my next story, success story number 4. Oh my goodness, so great to still see an audience here, 30 of you. Okay. It's my client, this recent one, going from a communication specialist in the public sector to a senior product strategist in the financial services industries at a top bank here in Canada. And so this is a huge change, right? This client had an 18% salary increase plus negotiated a year-end bonus there because she was losing out on a bonus that she was leaving from. So she was able to negotiate that. So that's something I want to encourage all of you. If you are losing out money because you're leaving a job, you need to let this new employer know and let them know how much you're losing on so that they can either match it or give it to you. So in this case, like a year-end bonus, for example. So in this case, this client, when you think about it, going from communication to product strategist is a really different role, different industry as well. When you think of going from government to banking. So what's really important is, number one, we really had to work on her confidence. She really lacked confidence of what is possible for her. Number two is we really had to hone in on identifying her superpowers, like what is her unique value that she brings to the table. Number three was we did tons of interview prep and practice, like really getting very specific on the type of questions that she can get. And then the other fourth piece is learning how to ace a case interview, right? If for anyone in product, you have to do case interviews. So she had to do massive research to get herself to that point there, because there was a lot of fear and anxiety out there. So part of what I had to do was really help her, one, get clear and concise and compelling with her messaging. Number two is be very confident how to tackle a case. But number three, most importantly, it's a lot of times it's helping the employer see how your skill set and experience is transferable. So in this case, this client actually landed the job through networking with a hiring manager that she met a year ago. And she was basically had an informational chat to really understand the hiring need of what it takes to be successful, what she was looking for. And she discovered one of the core competencies the hiring manager was looking for is someone with great communication skills and presentation skills. And this client was a former journalist, so had a background in journalism, like as a reporter. And so she was really good with storytelling, with thinking on her feet, presenting, building trust and rapport. And that was a core requirement for this job, right? So it outweighed essentially then having the technical acumen, being a product specialist there. And so that's how she won them over to win this job there. So that's something I'm super, super proud of. If these stories are inspiring, type in a +1. Let me know like what's inspiring. Like my goal here is really I want to inspire you, let you know like what are the challenges and what are those opportunities and what you can do differently there. Okay, story number 5 is from insurance to consulting at a director of strategy role. So this is one of my executive level clients who work in the insurance industry, reporting the CEO, and he landed this job at a top consulting firm, a director of strategy. So I had a 28% salary increase and negotiated for 30K signing bonus. Huge, right? Another huge, massive change when you think about this. So it's a huge, huge, huge increase there. And I supported the client for quite some time. I would say about 6 months or so, because it's a more senior level role. We had to really get clear on what's next, because this client actually came from a actuarial science background, be an actuary. And so we had to get really clear on how to reposition himself, right? A lot of times when you're making this pivot is how does an employer really understand how your skill set is relevant. So one, we had to get clear on the type of ideal role he really wanted that would get him excited, because he was already in a very strategic role reporting to the CEO of a big insurance company. So we had to get clear on what would that next level role be for him, right? And he talked to tons of people there. Like he did tons of networking, connected with a lot of people where he got introduced to these top consulting firms, and eventually got into this. And it was a series of meetings. It wasn't necessarily formal interviews. When you get to that more senior level, sometimes it's not necessarily formal interviews. It's really how you carry yourself in a conversation, how you talk about business challenges, business opportunities, how you ask questions, how you share your thoughts and insights, all that come into play. And so one of the things that we worked on, I know with this client, was really helping him with essentially these soft skills, right? Because one of the feedback he tended to get was being arrogant, or could be coming across as too confident. And so we had to work on how to still showcase that credibility and confidence there. And that really helped him essentially win them over there. Right. So this is something I'm really proud of, this person who made this huge change in terms of different industry, right? Going from more an insurance-based industry to consulting industry in the strategy field. And strategy consulting is a very competitive field to get in other. Okay, success story number 6 is another client going from AVP to global VP of relationship management in the financial service industry. So this is a client in the States where she had a 20% salary increase, negotiated for 5K more, and she aced her first interview after 12 years at the same company. Super proud of this client, because this client was just coming out from a mat leave, and been in the same company, and she wasn't really confident again with herself. She wasn't even clear on how to go about searching for a job, how to put together her resume or LinkedIn profile, because she's been in the same company for a decade. Like, how many of you actually have not updated your profile or resume just because you've been in the same company for a long time? Like, let me know if it's outdated, type in outdated there. And so we had to work on that first, like getting really clear of all the things that she's done over the years, right? She wasn't even really sure what made her stood out. So we had to get really deep in going through her career story, her narrative, her experience, her skill set. What does her role level equate to in the market? Getting clear on that in terms of salary. So there were tons of research that had to be done in order for this client to make the successful transition. It was about, I would say, about another 6-month process. However, she aced her first interview. When she met the recruiter, she was able to sell herself, right? And this is what I believe is that when you do the necessary research and preparation and have a good understanding of what they're looking for, you're able to speak with greater clarity and confidence and in a more compelling way. And so I was really proud of this client because a big part for her was the confidence, believing that she had something great to offer there. Right? And then she was able to land this next level global role. All right, success story number 7 is another client going from a senior fulfillment analyst to a manager level role of customer operations in supply chain. So this is a client that I was really proud of as well. Let me just type in supply chain here. She had a huge, massive salary increase of 67% salary increase, earning 6 figures. And this is something I'm really, really proud of. And a big part was really showcasing more of her skill set. For her, she was also not confident in her in terms of what she had to offer because one was that English was not her as her first language and that she was newer to the market to Canada here. So we really had to work on her own mindset, her own belief and believing herself and really overhauling, updating her resume, her LinkedIn profile. I remember we had to do a lot of work, even managing her own anxiety and stress as well. And so for those, if you're feeling stressed, it's so important to take the time to take a step back because if you're feeling anxious, the employer can feel the energy, the way you talk in an interview. And so work with someone, get some help to work on that so that you have the right mindset going into an interview, right? Because if you don't appear confident, it's hard for you to be convincing and compelling in a conversation there. Okay, so that's something I know I worked on with this client is really that energy, that mindset and confidence so that she can show up with greater presence and influence there. Okay, and I'm so proud of her. 67% salary increase is huge, right? For someone to be making 6 figures. So she's super grateful for that. And I'm so proud of her. And success story number 8 is another client going from director of sales to sales trainer. This is someone I've actually known for over 10 years. She's actually a friend of mine who back in the day, she actually she hired me to help her with recruiting for her team there. So this is someone I adore, I love, and I was so honored when she reached out to me when she was looking to make a change, a pivot in her career. And this, I remember, she actually quit her job right around the Christmas holidays a year ago. She decided to quit her job after a decade plus at the company, was ready to make a change and wanted just something different. And she wasn't necessarily rushing into a job search. She really just wanted to take the time to figure out what's next. And through our conversations together, she told me that she really loved working with people. Like she loves the coaching, the training, the mentoring. And this is where we'd really talked about like making that career pivot from being a more sales oriented role to more a sales trainer role. And so she reconnected with a lot of people, like being in sales, like connecting with her vendors, her partners, people in her network, very active. And what I was really proud of was that she was able to land this new opportunity in 6 weeks. So essentially beginning of this year. And it was all because of these outreach, like throughout the holidays, reaching out to people, wishing them a happy holiday, letting them know about her situation, not sure what's next, but want to just connect and touch base. And just through these casual conversations, she was able to uncover this really exciting opportunity that was essentially a remote role. She's in Canada and this opportunity was in the US of becoming a sales trainer in a part-time capacity, which was perfect for her because she has a young kid and still earning more than before. How cool is that, right? Making a big career change, doing what you love, working with people you already know, and working less hours there. And so that's something, a key lesson learned here is putting yourself out there, right? I know sometimes it can feel awkward when you feel like you're unemployed, but we just have to have this mindset of being curious and sharing with people, right? You want to remove from this desperate energy of like, I need a job versus like, where like, I have something great to offer. I'm excited to offer. I'm excited about this new chapter in my life. That's something you will want to talk about, especially for those who've been laid off. You may have this negative energy still. Make sure you process all your emotions so that you can show up with greater confidence and positivity there. Okay. So this is what's possible, right? If you are looking to make a big change, I want to let you know that it's totally possible there. Okay, 4 more stories to share, and then we're going to wrap up. Here, success story number 9 is from supervisor in the public sector to a privacy program manager in tech. So this is another big one from a client of mine who worked in the government and supervisory role in and decided to really want to make a change into a big tech company. Now, this was at Microsoft as a privacy program manager. Right? And so she was able to first secure a contract role at first. And when within 6 months, she was able to take from a contract role to a permanent role. And she received a 10K signing bonus and equity and increased her salary by another $23,000. So that is huge. Like just seeing how to make that change. It took a while to really make that change there. But once she made that change, she was able to really prove herself and was able to really secure this permanent role. Right. So sometimes it's okay to take a contract role. Right. If you may feel like it's a short term, but if it's helping you get a foot in the door, break into the industry, take that risk, especially if you like the work, you like the people, you like the company, it's worth taking. So in this case, she was able to turn that contract role to a permanent role within 6 months and really drastically changing her earning potential there. Okay. And she's just really loving that. And big part of the work we did, she hired me for specifically was on interview coaching. We really worked on interviews as it's very different than what she's used to on how to interview effectively, the career narrative she wanted to tell, what are the transferable skills, what are the core stories. She also actually completed her master's, her certificates in the areas of security and privacy as well. That gave her an edge that she had like the technical lingo there. Okay. So sometimes you may need to get additional educational certifications to help you break into a new area there. Okay, so story number 10 is going another client going from a business analyst to a manager of data analytics. Let me tell you, data analytics is a hot area. I've supported so many clients in the last few years who decide to pursue their master's or degree in analytics. So if you're a very numbers-driven person, it's a very hot area. This person essentially got a next level role in the legal industry with a 39% salary increase, which is pretty significant there. And so for her, this is actually a repeat client of mine. I've been supporting her. I think this is my 3rd time supporting her now. Such an honor to see her growth journey from when we started there is really helping her up-leveling her resume, her LinkedIn, her confidence, her communication skills, really believing herself, even just that readiness of being ready to be a manager, how you would coach people, manage people, support people. These are all things that if you don't have experience, you need to be at least able to talk about or learn more about so that you have stories that you can share or how you would approach a situation. Okay. All right. Our second last success story number 11 is a client going from pharmaceutical manufacturing to telecommunications in a marketing role. So this was an MBA grad who I'm super proud of. I actually referred her to this opportunity onto my where my husband works on his team there. And I was so proud of her of how she aced her case interview. Like this was like the best case interview I've ever seen. I've done tons of case interviews in my life, and this was one of the best ones. And what I loved about this client was that she always had a great attitude, right? Even though there were a lot of rejections along the way, she always had a great attitude, a great mindset, always looking for ways to improve, to differentiate, and learning about a new industry. And as a result, I was willing to refer her and endorse her for a new opportunity as well. She was really open-minded and coachable to help her really ace this case interview there. And so for those who had done case interviews, like they're really intense. Like this case interview was like a Harvard case interview with like really long, I think it was like 30 pages of reading and numbers and putting together a PowerPoint presentation and pitching in 10 minutes. And I can tell you, presenting in a case interview or pitching is very stressful. One of the key lessons here is you need to be able to manage your mindset and your nerves. You need to be able to think on your feet, be be able to really get clear on your overall story and message of what you want to say to convince the panel there. And so for those who do that, like you have to practice. This is not something you can just wing it and going to a case interview. Okay, this is like really tons of practice to get to that. And I believe like part of her MBA had really helped her because she has gone through also case prep throughout her MBA studies there. Okay. All right. So last but not least is success story number 12 is from entrepreneur to general manager in automotive sales. So this is an executive client of mine who I'd had a pleasure to supporting. And he was someone I met over 10 years ago, where I recruited him to the executive MBA program that I was working at. And he essentially is 20-year plus career in automotive industry and really wanted to find another role as a GM, general manager in an automotive company there. And so he did tons of networking. Like he reached out to over like 1,000 people. That's not a typo. He reached out to 1,000 people. Like being in sales, he knew the importance of building a funnel, reached out to 1,000 people to chat with, to connect with, and he was able to land a lucrative progressive role with high six figures compensation package there. And so obviously, I would tell you it was challenging because when you get to a certain level, especially the very senior executive level, there are less of these roles or opportunities, right? Sometimes you may not find it on a posting. You have to really get creative or tap into your network, talking to people to really help you identifying these or uncover these opportunities. A lot of times these roles are not posted. Right, these leadership roles, it's talking to the chairman, the CEO, and you have this conversation of like, what are their challenges, what's keeping them at night, what they need, and then sometimes it's crafting this new opportunity, right? So part of that is this was like be able to have these conversations to pitch himself on why he would be a great candidate there. So I'm really proud of this client of be able to make this transition. Like I have never really seen someone who reached out to 1,000 people. Like that is next level of networking. And so to me, like part of like job searching is you have to be willing to put yourself out there, right? Part of it is like you have to talk to people, right? To be top of mind, to be visible, to be marketable there. Okay. All right. So tell me like what is your biggest takeaway? This we're wrapping up here. I am so proud of all of you who've been here to still see an audience here. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope today's show was helpful. Like let me know like what was your biggest takeaway. All right. Give me some love by typing emoji or comment. Let me know. What was your biggest takeaway here? So today, what we covered today in today's show was walking you through how to reflect on your year, the 5 steps. And then I'll walk you through how to thrive in 2023 with my 10 Ps. I shared with you a bit of my own reflection of the year and my highlights of what I want to do more of in 2023. And then lastly, I just shared with you some career pivot success stories in hopes to really inspire you and empower you of what's possible. I hope I really inspired you. Like if you can type in one word of how you feel from today's show, like if you're still here, like type in a comment. What's one word to describe how you feel after attending this session with me today? Like I really hope that I was able to inspire you, empower you to really believe in yourself, that you matter, that you are worthy, you're remarkable. One of my favorite sayings is to really own your greatness with confidence, to shine and thrive. Okay, really believe in that. The owning your greatness with confidence to shine and thrive. So to wrap up, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being with me here. I still see you, David. Hi, Awa. Thank you so much for being here. Just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to wish you all a happy holidays. Oh, Reshma, you're here too. Thank you for working with me early this year. Oh, yes. I love supporting you as well. Oh my goodness. I love your story too. Thank you. Thank you. Lily, you're here as well. Yes. So I just want to say happy holidays. May you have a warm, relaxing, and safe holiday filled with love, joy, and peace. And I want to wish you an amazing new year filled with abundance of inspiration, opportunities, and magical moments. I will be bringing on a more new shows and events in the coming years. So please do stay in touch. If you're not connected yet, make sure you're following me on LinkedIn. Make sure you're also you're part of my mailing list on my website at mymarketability.com. as well. That's where I really share with my insiders, subscribers of upcoming events, my tips. I often summarize all my latest content that I share. So come on over to subscribe to on my website there. Okay, to stay connected. Amazing. And feel free to take my course. Yes, I have a thanks to Jan for sharing this. Is to I have additional free interview training resources for those who want to get more help, because I know that's a popular area. Is going to my website at mymarketplace.com/resources. You'll find that training there. I have tons of videos, checklists, questions to ask an interviewer. I also have another video training on networking and career clarity on this website there. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much. Let me just see here. So many of you. What a great way to wrap the year this year of the show. I think we had about 25 guest speakers on the show this year. I've done about dozens, at least a dozen, like 20, 20 shows this year, about 2 a month this year. So it's been such a fulfilling year. Thank you so much. I want to wish you all the best. Cheers.